Bonk is steadily climbing. It's one of the top performers today. It also performed pretty nicely this week along with all of crypto. Now in this video we're going to talk about on-chain analytics and how those analytics might actually be breaking down for Bonk. I want to talk about relative valuations of Solana to Ethereum, of Bonk relative to Solana. I want to talk about trading ranges that tend to be pretty stable over time. Now we are currently at a price of 4032. We are up 21% today, 42% this week, and since listing on CoinMarketCap, we are up almost 30,000%. Now this is not the first video on Bonk on this channel. I published one 8 months ago. So that was on the 20th of November. In other words, over here. The nature of the token has changed quite a lot since then. But if you want to be early next time, right? If this is your first time researching Bonk, then maybe consider following channels like this. I try to publish videos early and regularly. Now here's something very fascinating for Bonk. I looked at the number of wallets on chain on Solana that have at least 30 million tokens versus 3 billion tokens. So on the left side, those are the wallets that have roughly $1,000 worth of the token at current prices. In the middle, we've got the number of wallets that have roughly $10,000. On the right, roughly $100,000 worth of the token. Now, what I find so fascinating about those charts is that we actually do not see any growth in any of those charts since February of 2023. So for roughly 1.5 years, we haven't seen the number of investors grow for Bonk. One thing we do see though is that over time more and more trading volume gets into the larger hands, as in the whale wallets. So large retail and whale, those are the kinds of wallets that have at least $100,000 worth of the token. This tends to somewhat increase over time. In other words, it appears as if there's not a lot of new retail investors jumping in. Instead, we see more and more whales accumulating over time, creating this rally. And so I don't necessarily think that the recent price action is due to leverage, because the perpetual futures market isn't actually that active. If we were to see manipulation, we normally see 100 or 200% of the market cap getting traded on the perpetual futures. This is not what we are seeing. We simply just see accumulation by the whales. We don't see necessarily people levering up their positions. Now I think there is two important charts to consider for the price of Bonk. The first one is simply the price of Solana, right? Because Bonk is mainly traded on Solana, and so when Solana crashes, then of course Bonk wouldn't do too well either. This here is the Solana price relative to Ethereum. It's not the US dollar price, it's the relative valuation to Ethereum. And yes, there is a bit of a noteworthy resistance after an additional outperformance of roughly 15%. So Solana is outperforming in the last month or so, but it is important to keep an eye on this chart. It is important to potentially take some chips off the table or to de-risk a little bit once we reach those historical highs in relative valuation again. We have bounced off that resistance several times. Another interesting relative valuation chart is this one. This is Bonk relative to Solana. There is a pretty clear, nice floor, but there's also decreasing relative tops. And here the upside relative to SOL is really not that large. It's maybe another 10%, but the downside is a potential fall of almost 50%. Will this prevail? Will this break? Your guess is as good as mine, but I still think it's very interesting to see how those tops are aligning. And there is a potential chance that the next top will align again. I'm publishing videos on various meme coins regularly on this channel. I will also do follow-ups on Bonk. If you don't want to miss those, feel free to subscribe. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. One more thing, in case you've got Telegram, feel free to join us. The link is down below. Looking very much forward to chatting with you. Cheers.